Hi, this is Surgent CPA Review, and today we're going to talk about studying using the CPA Review, beginning with our assessment phase. And to understand the assessment phase, we first have to understand why we want you to study in a specific sequence. When you look at the ingredients of our course, we match basically the same ingredients you see with other courses. So, for instance, I'm in financial accounting and reporting, and in financial accounting and reporting, I've got multiple choice questions in each of the 5 categories. I have simulations in each of the 5 categories, and just about all of our multiple choice questions and simulations are retired AICPA exam questions. We have a textbook that comes with each exam section. So for instance, here's my financial accounting and reporting section, 572 pages of textbook. And then lastly, for each exam category, we have ample number of videos, as you see right here. So each one of these topics you see launches a video in our course. But we don't want you to study like other review courses are doing, where they have you start out watching the videos for a specific topic and then turning around and reading the book for that topic, and then turning around and doing the multiple choice questions for that topic. And then if there's a simulation, do that simulation, and then go back, rewatch some videos, reread parts of the book, repeat some of the multiple choice questions, etc. It's just too much of a time-consuming process to go that route. With most of the review courses out there, you're looking at an endeavor that's anywhere from 160 to upwards of 280, 290 hours of studying per exam section. And if you look at the average calendar window someone has available for studying, it's too much content to get through. So what we want to try and do with Surgent is try and do this assessment phase first. And the purpose of the assessment phase is to have you go in and basically prove to the course and to yourself what you know and what you don't know. And then based upon that, you'll know which videos you need to watch or which parts of the book you need to read. But more importantly, you'll know which videos and which parts of the book you can eliminate having to watch or read based upon your scoring. So for that reason, we don't want to start you out in videos or books. We want to start you out in the multiple choice questions. And we want you to see enough questions to where we can accurately have an assessment of what your strengths and weaknesses are. So that's what the assessment phase is. This ball right here with the 5 on it means I have seen 5% of the questions of the assessment phase. We want you to see 35% of the questions in the database. Financial accounting and reporting has roughly 1,725 multiple choice questions, so we want you to see in a ballpark of 600 questions before you even think about looking at a book or watching a video. So to do that, you come up here under study session, you're going to click on adaptive study. And this click right here will be the most frequent thing you do in our course, because what you're asking the course to do is to put the adaptive learning algorithm into play. And what it's going to do, it's going to choose questions for you, not just from one category, as you see down here below, but it's going to choose questions from all 5 categories. And that distribution of questions is going to be based upon the AICPA weighting of the categories, because in the CPA exam, the AICPA doesn't test an equal, in this case, let's say 20% for 5 categories. Instead, it's as little as 10% in some categories, like here, Category 4 and Category 5. But in Categories 2 and 3 of the CPA exam for FAR, it's 30%. So we want you to study in the right quantity, if you will, or the right recipe of questions. So to do that, you choose adaptive study. And what the software will do is choose which questions out of the 5 categories you're going to study. And initially, it will be based entirely upon that AICPA weighting, but eventually it's going to start factoring your previous scoring history. So as you start to show you do fairly well in certain topics or certain subcategories or even certain categories, the software is going to wean you off that and make you study more in those areas where you're showing more difficulty. So you start out by telling the course how long you want to study, either by the number of questions or by the number of minutes. I'll say 30 questions, and that's about an hour's worth of studying. Click Start, and the course will automatically choose which questions I'm going to study. So I don't have to worry about trying to choose and select it. Question comes up on the screen for answer multiple choice, and what's the first thing you notice about this question? Well, to me, I notice a lot of numbers, a lot of dates, a lot of dollar amounts. And this is the CPA's way of trying to throw you off. And we see students really, when it comes to questions like this, in three different areas getting the question wrong. Number one is just comprehension. This could be a question, and again, this is financial accounting and reporting, but maybe you do mostly income tax work, and so you're looking at this question, you have no idea what the answer is. You just don't remember seeing something like this in all your accounting classes in college. So there's going to be a comprehension issue on that. So you might have no idea at all, or you might be able to make some educated guess, but you'll see that all these numbers and dates are designed to throw you off. The second reason students get questions wrong is just because they misread a word, or they missed something. And then the third reason is that they didn't give full focus to each of the four answer choices. Notice down below where we list A, B, C, D, quite frequently we'll find students that they will see an answer choice and immediately fall in love with answer A or B and not give the same emphasis to answer C or D. And in a numerical question like this where you have to do a calculation, you could read answer choice A and do the math backwards and go, oh yeah, I see how they came up with 11,700 and answer like that, only to realize after you answered the question that it was something else. So let's say we think that the answer is C and I answered as C. Submit the answer. I got it wrong. So at this point, it's okay to get the question wrong, but what I want to try and accomplish is I want to leave this question knowing why the correct answer is correct. So to do that, I first need to go back and make sure I understand what is being asked in the question. So we leave the question on the screen, leave the four answer choices, and then down below we'll provide an explanation. We'll tell you why, in this case B is the correct answer, and we'll even do the math to show you how it was calculated. Now at this point, if I understand why B is the correct answer, then that is the goal I want. I want to leave this question knowing why the answer is correct. But what if I need more help? Well, we do a few things here to add tiers of learning to your course. So the first is we provide these terms defined right here. Each one of these terms, regardless of how simple it might be, like 401k or something more complicated like vested, we will define those terms. So if you click on like statement of financial condition, we give you the definition or explanation as to what that key term is. So this particular question has 5 key terms associated with it, but just because all 5 are there doesn't mean we want you to click on all 5. You're only accessing it if you need the additional layers of help. But what if that's not enough? What if after reading the multiple choice question again, looking at the 4 answer choices, looking at our explanation, and even accessing some terms, you're still struggling with it? Well, then at that point we want to start bringing the book into play. But what we're trying to accomplish is to not have you read that entire book cover to cover. So what we'll start by doing is just giving you a portion of the book. Just that portion of the book that directly relates back to that question right there. So this is what we call a tag back to our textbook. And it doesn't give you the whole book, as I said, but just a portion that is directly relevant to this question. And this is what we mean by tiered learning. We're going to try and give you as little or as much information as you need, but only have you access as much as you need to master the material. Okay, one more question to show you here, and this is for if you ever come across a question and you have absolutely no idea what the answer is. Let's say you're looking at this question and just you're completely in the dark. The problem with that is that I want to see the answer, and to see the answer, I have to answer the question, and now I've got a 1 in 4 chance of guessing it correctly. And if I guess it correctly, even though it's a wild guess, the software is going to think I know the answer to this question, and going forward, I will see it less often than I would if it was a question where I had answered it incorrectly. So I sort of want to surrender on this question, and that's what this question mark is right here. If I choose that, then no matter which answer choice I choose, it marks it wrong automatically. So I'm doing this if I have no way to even make an educated guess. I have no way to eliminate 1 or 2 answer choices. I mean, I'm just completely in the dark. So I'll just say A at this point, submit the answer. And guess what? It actually was A. So if I hadn't done that, the software would have marked this question as being correct, and I would see it less often going forward. Now, because I marked it with the question mark, it marked it wrong for me automatically. I'm going to see it more often going forward, but I still get the full complement of learning. Now I can see the 4 answer choices again. I can read the question again. I can read the explanation. I've got the defined terms right here. I've got my tag back to the book right here. So I still have the ability to now go through and access all of these to make sure I understand the question and again accomplish the goal of leaving this question knowing why the correct answer is correct. Okay, let's end the session right here. When you finish study session, you'll get this summary report here. It'll list the questions in the sequence, the question numbers out of the database, their location on the exam, what category topic they are, whether you're correct or incorrect, and how much time you took. And then you have your scores and averages right here. When I go back to the dashboard, then it takes me back and updates my scoring. So let's say at this point I've moved this ball, I've advanced it along, and at this point maybe, let's say, I reached that right around 100% for the assessment. So this ball is here to the right. It says about 100%, which means I've seen 100% of the required number of questions for assessment. At this point now, what I want to try and do is start doing mapping. I want to know what areas I need to go back and either watch the videos or read the books. And to do that, I will run my progress report. And the progress report is like your scorecard. It's telling you how you're doing in each of the 5 categories, or for other parts, 6 categories. Total number of questions not answered correctly, questions not seen, total attempts, your average score, your trending score, and the total time studying. But I want to go into more detail, so I'm going to click on my detailed report, as you see right here. And in the detailed report, I'm not just looking at my 5 categories, but I'm looking under the hood for each of the 5 categories, or each 5 categories. So I'm not just looking at my score in category 1, which is 59%, but I'm looking at subcategories A, B, and C. And under A, B, and C, maybe I'm looking at the topics 1, 2, 3, 4, or B, 1, 2, 3, etc. But what I'd like to do here is look at my top level scoring as a trending score, 59%. And then if I see, for instance, I'm doing well in category 1 overall, but maybe, let's say, in A, I'm 62, B, I'm 66, C, I'm 62. But what if I come down a little bit and maybe I have another category where I'm not doing very well, like I've missed every question in E as an example. Well, what I can do is I can go back to my dashboard and I can scroll down to my category 1 where it shows me my scoring data, and I can click on watch videos, and then from watch videos I can go, and there is 1E, which is accrual versus cash basis. So now I can actually watch that video for that area.
Hi, I'm Susan Cox. Welcome to Surgent CPA Review. Today we're going to take a look at financial accounting and reporting, and more specifically we'll look at the area on how to convert cash to accrual and go back and...
All right, so I'll pause the instructor here. A few things I want to point out. Number 1, we break our videos into very small bite-sized segments. So this video for this one singular topic is only 8.5 minutes long. And for each area that she's covering, we have very easy to follow slides that you see right here, instead of someone just writing on a dry erase board. In addition, these slides and the instructor's notes can both be printed out or stored on a mobile device. So a lot of our students like to take the instructor notes that you see right here and take the slides that you see right here and have those available on their mobile device or stored on their PC. And they use these in lieu of our textbook, because now what we're doing is we're sort of giving a condensed version of the textbooks as you see right here. So as you're studying and watching this video, you can enter in notes along the way. You can also do bookmarks along the way. Those will come back up as you watch the video a second time if you have to see it. So now instead of having to watch, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15 videos maybe in category 1, 16 videos in category 1, I only had to watch one video, which was accrual versus cash basis. So I've saved myself a lot of time, a lot of effort, and now at this point, I finished the assessment phase for that one category. I can then maybe go to look at my scoring for category 2 and category 3 and do the same thing. And what I like to tell students at that point is after you've watched a video, let's say you watched the video in category 1, you can come under study session again, and this time instead of adaptive study, you're going to click customize study. And what you want to try and do here is you want to go back and study questions where you just watched the video. So I was in category 1. I was in E, and you see we break it into these 3 areas, but I'll just go ahead and choose all 3 areas. And then I can do, for instance, questions missed last time seen as an example. And so any questions I missed in category 1E the last time I saw them, this will give me a chance to go back and do them again to see if the learning I had acquired through the videos stuck enough to where I'm doing better on those questions, so I can launch a study session here and do those questions. If I really didn't do well on a study session like that, then my other option then is to go back to the book. And when we're going back to the book, we're going back as though we're learning it for the first time. So I could go into my reference volume, open it up, and this is my table of contents right here. So 2100 is category 1. If I go to 2100, then to my shortcut here, you'll see under 2100, there's then the first topic right there that I was looking at. Maybe it was conceptual framework if I was in that one topic right there. So that starts at 2121. So I could go to 2121. And I could start reading from this point forward just for that area. So now it's though I'm getting instruction for the first time like I'm back in college. But again, instead of reading this book 572 pages cover to cover, I'm only having to read for that part of the book. So doing all that for the first 5 categories you see here, for those 5 categories, gets me through the assessment phase. And once I've completed that, then I'll start the adaptive learning phase. And that's where I will just do study session after study session of multiple choice questions. About halfway through is when we recommend you start doing simulations. And then halfway through is we also recommend you run another progress report to see how you're scoring. Do you need to go back and see some videos again? You can do that here. And then maybe one more time at the end of adaptive learning. So that's why we want you to do the assessment phase first. We're trying to eliminate parts of the video, parts of the book of studying, and trying to get you to the point where you're able to pass the exam in less study hours. With any questions, reach out to us at cpareview@surgent.com. We'll be happy to help you out. Take care.